Good Sunday morning, traders. I just wanted to pop on here real quick and give you some chart levels for next week. I need to make this one a dotted line. It's bothering me. Okay, so I marked out 75% retrace of last week, 50% retrace of last week. Where we closed, that's going to be an NWOG. Where we open will be the other part of the NWOG. And 25% of last week. From the big perspective, I marked out a fair value gap on the weekly chart down here. The low for October is right here, but it's not showing because it's a regular trading hour. I'll just go to the weekly so you can see that. I do think this is our draw down here. Well, maybe a little bit lower. August. This is going to be readdressed. If you look at that weekly, several weekly lows, it's going to be readdressed at some point. I would like to see it be readdressed by the end of this month, and it is a possibility. We are starting to look a little bearish. I don't like these candle wicks here. They're kind of saying maybe we could push higher. It pushes down, then straight back up. But so those are the big picture levels right there. And you can just get on here. What I do is I started a monthly, and I mark out the monthly lows. Okay, so they're here. Right there's a monthly low. This one here is for the whole month, and this one is actually the current low for this month, but the month's not over, so it's just marked as a weekly low. And then we go to weekly, mark those levels out. There is that little fair value gap there. There's also one down here, right below these relative equal lows. So I think this one, if we push all the way down here, this one will be our point of contention. We may fill it, maybe only halfway, and then maybe start heading back up. Or we could go to all-time highs. So that's the weekly perspective. Daily perspective, this is what we're looking like. We have a fair value gap to the downside here and here. And that's significant to me. Two fair value gaps to the downside. This would be our bearish order block right here. And we've wicked into it, but we haven't gotten back to it really. And so to me, this is saying we're heading south on a daily chart perspective. If that was a 1 minute chart, we moved away from the high with a fair value gap. We tried to get back up into it, couldn't, and then offered lower. On a 1 minute chart, that would be a sell all the way. And we would be aiming for down here. Some of this stuff. Just because it's a weekly or daily chart doesn't mean we're not going to do the same thing. So keep that in mind. When we go to the 4-hour regular trading hour, I did not mark the ones that correspond. This one corresponds with a 4-hour regular trading hour. So I think that's significant to mark that, because the 4-hour RTH is a New York session low. And that would be actually Friday's New York session low. And I think it was in the morning. And then those are just RTHs. I need to change that. From a daily perspective, this one is a daily high as well as a 4-hour. So we need to make sure we mark that. So where those time frames intersect, that's important. So this one be 4-hour, weekly, and daily. I think last week's low will be sufficient for there. Okay, so this one's a daily relative equal. I don't know if it matches the 4 hour or not. Let's see. Yeah, it does. So this one would be a daily, weekly, and 4 hour relative equal low. So that's in a very important level. Might even beef it up a little, make it a 2 point. And we could put on here 4 hour, daily as well. Because anytime you have multiple time frames, that's a more important level. And that's not too far from that fair value gap right there either. So as we go into the week, I like the low side. I mean, I like the way the chart is looking that we could possibly offer lower. We may open today with a gap down and just keep going down, or we may offer up and take out some of this liquidity up here. Maybe I would like to see it reach up into here and fail to go any higher and then fall out of bed. That's what I would like to see, because this is an extremely bullish candle. This big move we took down, we just pushed it, you know, straight back up. But we went to about the halfway point of that candle. And that to me says we're going down. Maybe, hopefully. Mark out your settlement. NWOG on the weekly chart, I just marked where that one. Actually, I went all the way to the 1 minute chart and shows where we closed on a extended time frame. Would have been right there. And we already came back to 50% of the week. So we may end up opening lower and just keep on going. I would like to see reaching up into here just so I can get a nice little reversal pattern to the upside and get maximum movement here down towards these lows if we do start offering that way. There is also the possibility that we took out these relative equal lows on the 4 hour, and that's all the downside we wanted, and we start reaching for all-time highs now. So don't put your blinders on. I tend to do that. But just for opening the week, these are the levels that I suggest you mark on your chart. Start with that monthly, go to weekly, mark them all out, and then mark the ones that correspond well with a daily and a weekly. So the last week's high and a 4 hour. They don't correspond with a 4 hour. And it's the New York session that we're most concerned with. There's actually a little gap here in the New York session. So we could offer up into that as well. We filled most of the gaps up. We have one up here that we haven't addressed, and we have this little one here that we haven't addressed. So we may end up addressing that on Monday or Asia or whatever. It doesn't matter if it happens in Asia. New York is the time frame that we need to look at the most, because that's where most of the volume occurs. And when we were in this section before, consolidated after this big rundown and pushed back up, we consolidated here for a good long while. We're not too far away from there, so we may find some resistance here pushing lower. We may get into some more chop like that. I'm going to zoom this in and pull it over just so we can see the most immediate 4 hour highs, lows, those features on the chart. Make sure you get those marked out and be ready for the open. Could be a good trade in Asia. Occasionally, Asia will make a big move. It could be we have one tonight. I would like to see one for sure. I need some money in my account. I keep losing. Traded silver on Friday in a competition and made $6,000 on it. And I'm like, why can't I do that in NASDAQ? I need to be doing that in NASDAQ. So I'm getting in my own way trying to figure out what every candle on a 1 minute chart is doing. And I'm going to try to step back this week, focus on these highs and lows and getting a good trade and letting it play out. I mean, if we take that high and then possibly trade to this low, there's no reason to try to get in and out and anticipate, ooh, am I going to get stopped out? Ooh, I'm going to move my stop. If we get a good reversal pattern here, I'm taking it and I'm going to try to get all the way back down here or settlement and get some real profit out of the deal. So that's what I did with the silver. I can show that to you real quick, what my hypo was on it. Let's just do this. I think it would be SL. SIL. Okay, let's blow her back up. Okay, so that's the RTH. We don't need it necessarily. I was looking at the daily chart on silver as we came into Friday. You got to keep in mind this candle right here had not formed yet. This one was the one that had not formed yet. And so I just looked at that. I saw this fair value gap right here. And I figured we would probably bounce somewhere once we took this. And so I just, in those competitions, you don't have to be super accurate because there is no concern about stop loss. You've got $25,000 to play with. So I put a limit order there in the that we would take that low right there. And of course we did. And we pushed through it. I don't know how much drawdown I had. I wasn't watching. I may have put it a little bit lower than that. I think we may have opened a little bit lower than that. And I just bought as soon as we opened, pretty close to it. And then I took my fib tool. This was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I just put it on there and got the 50% retrace of the week. That's the whole week right there. And so I was thinking right around here, we would reverse. And so I wrote it up, put a limit order in to sell short there. Also to kill my position just before it got there. And then it came back down. And I didn't even really mess with it all day long. I looked at it right at the end of the day. I would check it every now and then. Could see that I was doing pretty good on it. And that was my whole thing. Reverse here, reverse there. And not even watch it, not even mess with it. And I was up one time, I was up over $7,800 on 5 micro NASDAQ. 5 micro silver. Now, there's no concern about stop loss and all that. It is completely paper trading. So I may not have done as well if I would have put in a $200 stop loss or whatever, amount of stop loss you can imagine. But I didn't do any of that. So, but that is a strategy you can use with NASDAQ as well. So just keep that in mind. Putting an order at the highs and the lows, and just letting it play out. The 1 micro or whatever, you can still get spanked pretty good with 1 micro on NASDAQ. All right, that's it. Good luck this week. I'll be live streaming during the week. Join me.